On today's show, we're going to explore the 20 best places to visit in the beautiful state of California. Hi everybody, I'm JD Conroy. I'm a tour director with American Classic Tours, and I'm the host of this show, American Classic Tour TV. If you love to learn about American history, culture, geography, art, architecture, cuisine, and especially if you love to travel, you are in the right place. If you've not done so already, make sure you hit the red subscribe button that sits just below the bottom right-hand corner of this video. California, it's the land of dreams. California simply has it all. It's home to beautiful national parks, scenic coastal drives, dynamic cultural metropolises, romantic vineyards, white sandy beaches, colorful deserts, massive mountain ranges, towering redwood trees, and more. With such a wide array of natural beauty, it's easy to see why for hundreds of years, people have dreamed of journeying to California. So I guess that's what the mamas and papas were singing about. California has a rich and unique history that has been shaped by big dreamers. Whether it was the Spanish conquistadors who came to California dreaming of finding lost treasure, or the gold rushers of 1849 who came to California hoping to earn a fortune, or the thousands and thousands of people who have come to Hollywood hoping to make it big in show business, or the hippies who in the 1960s came to California with the hopes of setting up a dream utopia. All of these big dreamers have made California such a fascinating place. Today, California is America's most populous state with a population of 39.5 million people. It's also America's biggest economy with a GDP of $3.2 trillion. California is also marked by its incredible cultural diversity as people from all over the world have moved to this state seeking out opportunity. So it's these three things. Number one, the natural beauty. Number two, the unique history. And number three, the cultural dynamism that make California, in my humble opinion, the top state to travel to in America. In other words, if you could only travel to one state, I would recommend traveling to California. And I think after we take a look at our list, you'll see why. Wait, one more thing before we move on to our list. We want to hear from you. We've got two specific questions for you. The first is, I just said that California is my favorite state or my top state to visit in America. What's yours? Please comment below. And then the second question is, what's your favorite place to visit in California? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Again, comment below. Palm Springs, it's California's famous desert oasis. Back in the day, celebrities like Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and Elizabeth Taylor frequently came to Palm Springs to avoid the busyness and the bright lights of the big city. They came to Palm Springs to enjoy its dry warmth and laid-back lifestyle. Today, Palm Springs is home to several upscale shops, luxurious spas and resorts, lovely restaurants, and great golf courses. While you're in Palm Springs, take a guided tour of the city to see its iconic mid-century style of architecture and, of course, its beautiful palm trees. Go up to the top of Mount San Jacinto on the Palm Springs aerial tramway for an amazing view of the greater Palm Springs area. Just outside of Palm Springs sits Joshua Tree, one of America's most unique national parks. Sitting at an ecological crossroads where the low Colorado Desert and the high Mojave Desert collide, Joshua Tree is home to these huge boulders, mystical mountain ranges, old gold mining ruins, and desert plains spotted with the spooky looking Joshua Tree. This is truly one of the most bizarrely beautiful places in America. In the middle of the 1800s, a group of Mormon settlers crossed the Mojave Desert, and when they saw the Joshua Tree, it reminded them of an old biblical story. In the Old Testament book of Joshua, when he was crossing the desert, stopped and in fervent prayer lifted his hands high up to the sky. The Joshua Tree, also sitting out in the middle of the desert with its branches reaching up to the sky, reminded the Mormons of the story in the book of Joshua, and that's how the tree got its name. the confluence of the Sacramento and American rivers lies California's capital city. Incorporated in 1849, Sacramento is California's oldest city. Uncover the city's rich history as you visit Old Town Sacramento, a riverfront historic district with Gold Rush era buildings, horse-drawn carriages, and cobblestone streets. Old Town is home to the fascinating California Railroad Museum and the Sacramento History Museum. As you explore the city, notice its lush vegetation. Large, leafy shade trees cover most of the city. Bougainvillea, palm, and fruit trees populate the city's numerous parks. Be sure to take a guided tour of California's state capitol building and visit the brand new state-of-the-art Golden One Arena to see where the Sacramento Kings play. Situated on a scenic strip of California coastline midway between Los Angeles and San Francisco is the lovely little town of San Luis Obispo. This city was founded by Father Junipero Serra. Father Serra was a Spanish Franciscan who was one of the pivotal players in the settlement of the American West by Europeans. He set up 9 Spanish missions stretching from San Diego all the way up to San Francisco. His name popped up into the news recently as he was canonized or made a saint by Pope Francis in 2015. In 1772, he founded the mission San Luis Obispo. Today, you can walk the grounds of this historic Spanish mission. San Luis Obispo is more than just a mission, though. This charming town offers gorgeous hilly scenery with pristine beaches nearby and picturesque rolling vineyards known for producing some tasty Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. While you're in town, be sure to visit the unforgettably quirky and pink Madonna Inn. Perched high on what William Randolph Hearst would call La Cuesta Encantada, Spanish for the Enchanted Hill, overlooking the vast Pacific Ocean lies the majestic Hearst Castle. In 1919, after his mother's death, publishing tycoon William Randolph Hearst inherited thousands of acres around San Simeon, and over time, Hearst purchased additional land in the area so that his estate eventually encompassed 250,000 acres. Together with Julia Morgan, an architectural pioneer who is known as America's first truly independent female architect, Hearst conceived of his beautiful Hearst Castle. And there's a reason why it's called the Hearst Castle. George Bernard Shaw described Hearst's estate as, quote, what God would have built if he had the money. The Hearst Castle has a total of 42 bedrooms, 61 bathrooms, 19 sitting rooms, and 127 acres of gardens. The estate also featured indoor and outdoor swimming pools, tennis courts, a movie theater, an airfield, and during Hearst's lifetime, the largest private zoo in the world. Hearst was an avid collector. He said he wanted to make his estate, quote, a museum of the best things that I can secure. Today, it acts as just that, an incredible museum of over 25,000 historical artifacts and art pieces that Hearst collected over the years. Take a guided tour of the house where you'll hear fascinating stories of the Hearst Castle at its social peak during the Roaring 20s and the 1930s, when Hollywood stars such as Cary Grant, Jean Harlow, Mary Pickford, Clark Gable, and Charlie Chaplin all visited Hearst's estate on multiple occasions. Hearst also hosted political luminaries such as Calvin Coolidge, Charles Lindbergh, Winston Churchill, and more. And don't forget, make sure you soak up the picturesque Pacific Ocean view from Hearst's estate. Santa Monica is located just 20 minutes west of Los Angeles on the scenic Santa Monica Bay. It's home to America's most beloved ocean pier. The Santa Monica Pier marks the end of the historic Route 66, and today it's one of California's most visited tourist attractions, home to several shops, a Ferris wheel, and some gorgeous views. Santa Monica is more than just a pier though. It is a trendy, upscale neighborhood home to many high-end shops, luxurious resorts, and top-tier restaurants. At 3.3 million acres, Death Valley is the largest national park in the continental United States. This park features huge sand dunes, colorful sandstone canyons, rugged badlands, striking salt flats, and more. But what Death Valley is most famous for is its extremes. During the summer, temperatures peak above 120 degrees, and Death Valley only receives a mere 2 inches of rainfall per year. However, autumn in Death Valley is quite nice, making it the perfect time of year to visit. When in Death Valley, make sure you visit the Yuba Hibi crater, the site of a volcanic eruption 2,000 years ago. Marvel at the polished marble walls of Mosaic Canyon, and take in the magnificence of Mesquite Flat. "20 miles off the coast of Southern California sits the dreamy Catalina Island. With its sharp golden cliffs, its iconic marina, and bright sunshine, visiting Catalina Island will make you feel as if you're in the middle of the Mediterranean. Catalina Island has an interesting history. In 1919, William Wrigley purchased the island. And if you're like me and you're from Chicago, the name Wrigley will sound very familiar. That's because he was the owner of the Chicago Cubs. Wrigley made his fortune selling Wrigley chewing gum. He bought the Chicago Cubs and eventually bought himself Catalina Island, which could act as a winter retreat for himself and his family. A fun fact, from 1920 to 1951, Catalina Island was the spring training home of the Chicago Cubs. While on the island, explore the charming town of Avalon, take in its cute shops and restaurants, and make sure you snap a photo of the beautiful and the iconic casino building. Hey mom, if you're watching this episode at home, make sure you're paying attention. You're gonna love this part. With more than 400 wineries, Napa Valley is a wine lover's paradise. This region seems like it was taken straight out of a fairy tale. It is a land of plush estates, rolling vineyards, and quaint towns. Now, Napa Valley exploded onto the global scene after the famous 1976 Judgment of Paris, when a Chateau Montelena Chardonnay from Napa Valley beat out 9 other Chardonnays in a blind taste test, including some of the most prestigious Chardonnays in the world from France. In addition to its delicious wines, Napa Valley has a thriving culinary scene. Be sure to frequent one of its 35 Michelin star restaurants. Pasadena is located 12 miles northeast of downtown Los Angeles. It's home to California's grandest tradition, the Tournament of Roses. The Rose Parade is America's signature New Year's celebration. Since 1890, Pasadena has ushered in the new year with this great tradition. For many people who for years have watched this parade on TV, seeing it in person is a dream come true. To usher in the new year in sunny Southern California, watching the incredibly intricate flowery floats, the equestrian teams, and the marching bands pass by in person is an experience every American should enjoy. A quick interruption before we get to the second half of our video. If you're enjoying this video, make sure you subscribe to our channel. You just hit the red subscribe button that sits below the bottom right-hand corner of the video and ring the bell to get notifications from American Classic Tours. If you're enjoying this video, please leave us a like and share it with a friend. That would be very helpful for us here at American Classic Tour TV. And also, we want to hear from you. What's your favorite place to visit in California? Comment below. Okay, back to the list. San Diego is known for having the best weather on the planet, and that's because, well, it does. San Diego's climate is characterized by warm, dry summers and mild winters. It has an average of 201 days per year above 70 degrees, and very few rainy days with only 9 to 13 inches of rainfall annually. San Diego has more to offer than just nice weather though. Balboa Park is one of America's premier city parks. This is a place where culture, science, and nature collide. Home to 16 museums, multiple performing art venues, vibrant gardens and trails, this park is a must visit. You're also going to want to visit the Gaslamp Quarter, which is home to lovely shops, art galleries, trendy restaurants, and more. Take a tour of the USS Midway, the longest serving American aircraft carrier in American history. During its active history, this carrier hosted over 225,000 sailors. Visit one of San Diego's famous beaches like Coronado Beach or Mission Beach. And of course, what's a trip to San Diego without a visit to its world famous zoo or SeaWorld? Located on the border of California and Nevada, nestled in the Sierra Nevada mountain range, lies the breathtaking Lake Tahoe. I'll never forget my first visit to Lake Tahoe. Looking down at the water, it was so clean, so clear, it seemed like I could see perfectly at what sat on the lake's floor 30 feet below its surface. Lake Tahoe is one of the purest lakes in the world with a purity rate of 99.99%, essentially the same as distilled water. Speaking of water, I'm getting a little thirsty. I think I need a drink. Lake Tahoe is the 10th deepest lake in the world and the second deepest lake in the United States, only behind Oregon's Crater Lake. It is surrounded by 72 miles of scenic shoreline layered with giant evergreen trees and enclosed by majestic mountain ranges. Known as America's Riviera, Santa Barbara is distinctly Spanish in spirit. The architecture, specifically its red tile clay roofs, will make you feel as if you're walking through a Spanish town. The Santa Barbara County Courthouse and the old Mission Santa Barbara seem as if they were taken directly from Madrid. Along with its stunning architecture, Santa Barbara boasts sandy beaches lined with regal palm trees. Located just 90 miles north of Los Angeles, it's easy to see why this quiet town is where some of Hollywood's most famous stars like Oprah, Brad Pitt, Ellen DeGeneres have decided to build their secluded estates. If you're a history buff like me, you'll definitely want to visit the old Mission Santa Barbara. Established in 1786, this is California's quintessential historic mission. On the coast of Northern California lies a series of state parks and Redwoods National Park, which are home to the world's tallest trees, the California coastal redwoods. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, I am a tour director with American Classic Tours. American Classic offers about 50 tours to the most beautiful places in North America each year. So over the last 4 years that I've been tour directing, I've led hundreds, if not thousands of people to the most beautiful places in North America. I'm thinking like Yellowstone National Park, the Grand Canyon, you name it, I've probably led a tour there. And my favorite thing about tour directing is watching one of my travelers who I'm leading on the tour, watching them experience awe when they discover a new destination. See, many times, I as the tour director, I've been to the destination we're visiting. I know the beauty I'm about to experience, but I know many of my travelers, this is their first time there. As we step over to a beautiful overlook, you can just see the awe, on someone's face. Sometimes you can even hear it on the motor coach when you're driving around a national park. It gets real quiet in the back of the motor coach. You can hear a pin drop. And the reason I bring all of this up and that I went on this tangent is because more than any other place I've led a tour, I've never seen a group more overcome by awe than when I led a group to see the Redwoods. When you first see the Redwoods, you cannot help but be overwhelmed by their sheer size and beauty. It's almost like a transcendental or religious sort of experience. If you have never seen the Redwoods, you need to. They are simply amazing. They will take your breath away. Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Parks. These parks are home to the largest trees in the world, the giant sequoias. Now you're probably saying, wait, JD, you just said the tallest trees in the world were the California coastal redwoods. And the California coastal redwoods are in fact the tallest, but they are not the largest trees in the world. There's a difference. Let me explain. Now, if you take a look at this diagram, you'll see the differences between the coastal redwoods and the giant sequoias. As I mentioned, the redwoods are the tallest. They get up to about 370 feet tall, whereas the giant sequoias only grow up to be about 310 feet tall. And they're also larger, they're thicker, they have more volume. As you can see, they weigh up to 2.7 million pounds. Their bark is 31 inches thick, and their branches are 8 feet in diameter with a base of 40 feet in diameter. And as you can see, compared to the redwoods, just a thicker, more dense tree. The other difference is where they're found. The coastal redwoods are on the northern coast of California, and the giant sequoias are found in northeastern California in the Sierra Nevada mountain range. Sequoia and Kings Canyon are located in eastern California amidst the beautiful Sierra Nevada mountain range. They neighbor one another. They act almost as one national park. Some highlights of these parks include the largest tree in the world, the General Sherman tree. The second largest tree in the world, the General Grant tree. The tallest mountain in the continental United States, Mount Whitney, standing just over 14,000 feet in elevation. These parks are also home to abundant wildlife. You're definitely going to want to keep an eye out for black bears as you move around the park. Monterey and Carmel-by-the-Sea. If we zoom in on our map, we'll see that these two neighboring towns sit on the Monterey Peninsula, surrounded on three sides by the vast blue waters of the Pacific Ocean. If I were to describe these two towns in one word, I would say that they are dreamy. I'll never forget when I first visited this area, I had to keep pinching myself, like I was saying, this cannot be real. You mean to tell me that people actually live here? The main highlight of this area is the 17-mile drive along the world-famous Pebble Beach golf course. Visit the Lone Cypress Overlook. See the sea lions out in the Monterey Bay, and see Monterey's unbelievable multi-million-dollar mansions. You're definitely also going to want to visit Monterey's Cannery Row, made famous by John Steinbeck. This area today is home to some lovely restaurants, hotels, and shops. Los Angeles. There's really no other city in the world quite like LA. The first thing that makes Los Angeles unique is it's home to Hollywood, the creative capital of the world, where so many of the world's most popular movies, TV shows, and music are produced. Explore Hollywood's many icons to take in its great showbiz legacy. Walk the Hollywood Walk of Fame, where celebrities are immortalized with an honorary star. Visit the iconic Chinese Grauman Theater, where countless world-famous films have premiered. Explore the Dolby Theater, the home of the Oscars. Take a guided tour of the Warner Brothers studio to get a behind-the-scenes look at how your favorite movies and TV shows have been made. And of course, don't forget to visit Disneyland. Again, there's no other city in the world quite like LA. It's said that 1 out of 6 people who live in Los Angeles work as a creative in an artistic industry. If you spend enough time in Los Angeles, you'll spot celebrities walking its streets. Many celebrities live in Los Angeles' posh neighborhoods such as Beverly Hills, Bel Air, or Brentwood. Los Angeles is the second largest city in America with a population of 3.97 million people. There's so much to see in this city. Visit the Getty Art Museum, home to a world-class collection of pre-20th century European artwork. Take in a concert at the Hollywood Bowl, or enjoy a symphony at the Walt Disney Concert Hall. Shop luxury at Beverly Hills Rodeo Drive. Take in a Lakers game at the Staples Center, or a Dodgers game at Dodger Stadium. Explore the La Brea Tar Pits, a national natural landmark home to these unique tar pits which have trapped and preserved fossils for thousands of years. Take a step back in time as you visit Los Angeles' historic district at Alvera Street, and take in an unforgettable sunset from the Griffith Observatory. Besides my hometown of Chicago, San Francisco is my favorite city in America. There are so many things I find fascinating about this city. Let's start with its history. Despite being a West Coast city, San Francisco is an old town with a long history. The Spanish arrived in 1776 and set up the Presidio San Francisco and the Mission San Francisco de Asís. In 1848, after the Mexican-American War, San Francisco became part of the United States, and this small city began to boom. San Francisco was flooded with treasure seekers known as the 49ers, who came to the city as part of the historic gold rush in 1849. San Francisco experienced further growth in the second half of the 19th century with the establishment of the Port of San Francisco in 1869 and the introduction of the Pacific Railroad. By 1890, San Francisco had a population of almost 300,000 people, making it the 8th largest city in America. The city became known for its flamboyant style, stately hotels, huge mansions on Nob Hill, and a thriving art scene. During the 1960s, hippies flocked to San Francisco's Haight-Ashbury neighborhood, culminating in the 1967 Summer of Love. San Francisco also has a fascinating cultural dynamic today. Traditionally, San Francisco has been a tough, blue-collar city with a progressive bent. However, over the last 30 to 40 years, with the rise of Silicon Valley and powerful tech companies like Facebook, Google, and Apple, old-time residents often complain that their city has been overtaken by the young, rich, tech nerds who work for these big tech companies. The divide between old San Francisco and new San Francisco can be seen most clearly in housing prices, as many old-time San Francisco residents who maybe bought their homes 30, 40 years ago complain that they're stuck. They're actually stuck in their multi-million-dollar home in San Francisco. And the reason for that is they would like to sell their home and make a bunch of money because it's risen so much in value, but they simply could not afford to move anywhere else in the city because housing prices across the city are so expensive. So they'd have to move out of the city altogether. Today, San Francisco is a wonderful city to visit. It is a city of great icons. Take a drive down the crazy, curvy Lombard Street. See the painted ladies, the picture-perfect homes sitting on Alamo Square. Watch the sea lions at San Francisco's famous Fisherman's Wharf. Take a guided tour of America's most famous jail, Alcatraz, where criminals like Al Capone were imprisoned. Visit Chinatown, America's premier Chinatown. And of course, take a drive on the awe-inspiring Golden Gate Bridge. It's the world's most famous scenic drive, California's Pacific Coast Highway 1. Driving down California's scenic coastline is something everyone should experience. Some overlooks you are going to want to pull over for include Half Moon Bay, which is located about an hour south of San Francisco and is home to breathtaking sandy beaches. The Calla Lily Valley. See the unforgettable wild white lilies that form a dreamy path to the sea at Garrapatta State Beach. Take in the picture-perfect McWay Falls and visit Pfeiffer State Beach. And of course, you have to visit what is perhaps the most photogenic spot in America, the Bixby Bridge at Big Sur. Yosemite is the perfect national park. Great American naturalist John Muir, who is known as the father of the national parks, had this to say about Yosemite. It is by far the grandest of all the special temples of nature I was ever permitted to enter. Wow, that's some pretty high praise. Located roughly 180 miles east of San Francisco, Yosemite sits in the Sierra Nevada mountain range near the California-Nevada border. Yosemite is a huge park. It is about the same size as the state of Rhode Island. As you tour the park, be on the lookout for its wildlife: black bears, mountain lions, and the Sierra Nevada red fox. Be sure to see its famous rock formations like El Capitan and Half Dome. Take in its many breathtaking waterfalls, including Vernal Falls and the Yosemite Falls. See its giant sequoia trees at Mariposa Grove. Marvel at its unforgettable scenery at the Glacier Point Overlook. Folks, it's safe to say that no journey to California is complete without a visit to Yosemite National Park. So there you have it, folks. That's our list of the 20 best places to visit in the beautiful state of California. If you have not done so already, make sure you hit the red subscribe button that sits just below the bottom right-hand corner of this video and ring the bell to get notifications from American Classic. If you enjoyed this video, we'd really appreciate it if you could leave us a like or share it with a friend. Also, like I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, I'm a tour director for American Classic Tours. We offer about 50 tours a year to the most beautiful places in North America. We'd be happy to send you our catalog in the mail. To request a catalog, you can call 847-548-3333, or you can click on the link down in the show notes to request a catalog online. We also offer 5 tours to California each year. We have a Southern California tour, a Rose Parade tour, a California National Parks tour to Yosemite, Sequoia, and Kings Canyon, a California Coast tour, and then a Pacific Northwest tour that goes from Seattle down to San Francisco. If you're interested in any of those tours, links to the brochures are in the show notes as well. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in to this episode of American Classic Tour TV. We'll see you next time.